trying to get Ms. Daniels to appear on television and deny an affair with Mr. Trump shortly after In Touch magazine printed an interview she had once given them years before. Here's the text message, quote, "I have her tentatively scheduled for Hannity tonight. Call me after your trial." And then Keith Davidson responds, "She cannot, don't today. She is flying to L.A. tomorrow. I'm trying to get her to commit for tomorrow." With me now, Ms. Daniels' current attorney, Michael Avenatti. So you're talking about this collusion in regards to, I mean, these text messages, one we just read. I want to read one other exchange. Michael Cohen writes to Davidson, quote, "Let's forget tonight. They would rather tomorrow so they can promote the heck out of the show." And then Cohen texts again saying, quote, "Keith, the wise men all believe the story is dying. Don't think it's smart for her to do any interviews. Let her do her thing, but no interviews at all with anyone." Davidson responds 100%. So you're saying that they were essentially working together? Because don't lawyers often communicate, even if they're on opposite sides?
Well, Anderson, you're right. I mean, lawyers often communicate even when they're on opposite sides, but they're not supposed to be working together when they are supposed to be representing adverse clients. And at this point, the settlement was supposed to have been executed back in 2016. There was no reason for Keith Davidson to be communicating with Michael Cohen. And certainly, if you look at the text messages attached to the lawsuit, I mean, these were two individuals that had a very chummy, inappropriate relationship at this point. They're supposed to be representing adverse interest, and they are anything other than adverse at this point.
In that last text, they talk about the wise men. They say they. You believe that they includes Fox News and the Trump administration, that the wise men included President Trump. How do you come to that conclusion? Is there any evidence to back that up? Because it doesn't seem that there's any more details in the complaint.
Well, we have evidence that the term wise men, quote unquote, included Mr. Trump. And to be clear, I'm not calling Mr. Trump a wise man. I want to be really clear about that. I'm just stating that that text message from Mr. Cohen included reference to Mr. Trump. And Anderson, if you look at these text messages, you would have to conclude that Michael Cohen is making a decision unilaterally to put Stormy Daniels on Sean Hannity without any involvement of Mr. Trump or other senior members of the Trump administration. You also have to conclude that Michael Cohen is able to meet with the First Lady relating to Stormy Daniels without any knowledge by the president, which is just not believable. It doesn't make any sense.
It is interesting that Keith Davidson is trying to get, I mean, it seems in this text, is basically agreeing with Michael Cohen to try to get his client on Sean Hannity. Is there any evidence he had asked her whether she wanted to, or I mean, it doesn't. From the text that was released, it seems like for some reason he's agreeing with Michael Cohen that she should go on.
Well, you're correct, Anderson, and there's no evidence that he consulted with her at any point in time or asked her whether she would want to go on Sean Hannity for the purposes outlined by Michael Cohen. And if you look at the text messages, you see that Michael Cohen is desperate to have her appear on Sean Hannity to conceivably disavow this relationship that she had with the president. And I think it's important, Anderson, that we keep in mind that during this time period, January, February, and March, this is the time period that Michael Cohen and others are claiming that my client is a liar, that they've had no further involvement with her after the date the NDA was supposed to be signed. I mean, David Schwartz was on your show around the same time period in March, disavowing all knowledge, effectively, of Stormy Daniels. So the whole thing doesn't make any sense, and these text messages show that the prior denials by the president and Michael Cohen are complete lies.
Keith Davidson's current attorney says that this opens up attorney-client privilege and that you've actually made a mistake, that this is great for Keith Davidson so he can finally reveal whatever, according to his attorney, he wants to reveal. Also, I want you to comment on that and also comment on what Rudy Giuliani, the president's attorney, said today. He was in Israel, and I just want to play what he said about your client and allow you to respond.
Oh, very, very credible source. Stormy, the porn star. But I would say that that's about the same credibility as her lawyer, who basically got thrown out of the case. I don't believe Stormy Daniels.
You know, we can often...
I don't believe her. So, Stormy, you want to bring a case? Let me cross-examine you. Because the business you were in entitles you to no degree of giving your credibility any weight. And secondly, explain to me how she could be damaged. I mean, she has no reputation. If you're going to sell your body for money, you just don't have a reputation. Maybe old-fashioned, I don't know.
I want you to be able to respond to that.
Well, first of all, as it relates to the privilege, Anderson, you know, Keith Davidson, once again, is just wrong on the law. By filing the case, there is no broad waiver of privilege. We sent a 3-page letter to his lawyers late this afternoon explaining what the law in California is. So hopefully that'll put a bullet in that argument. But I do want to address Mr. Giuliani's comments. Mr. Giuliani is an absolute pig for making those comments. He's basically stating that women that engage in the adult film industry or other forms of pornography don't have reputations. They're not entitled to respect. I certainly hope that we're not going to reach a place where Rudy Giuliani is going to be the police that is going to decide which women deserve respect or not. His comments are piggish. They're outrageous, especially in today's day and age, and he should be fired immediately by the president. And if the president doesn't fire him as his personal attorney and condones this behavior, I think it's disgusting and it's an outrage.
Michael Avenatti, appreciate your time. Thanks very much.
Right.
Coming up next, President